Well, hello there, Miss Lisa on the East Coast.
Why, hello, Miss Sharon on the West Coast.
And you have joined in this afternoon or this morning to Coast Beauty.
Yes, thank
And,
you.
well, what's happened is last week we had the topic of superwomen.
Hmm.
And
Wow, hot topic.
yeah, it was. It was amazing to me how many responses and comments we received about that topic. And what surprised me is that so many of the women felt basically overwhelmed. So luckily for you, you have the list. So you want to read off what it is, what their major concerns were?
Okay, so even though there were many comments, we took the top four that was repetitive, and we would like to just today. So the first comment was up to the task of being a superwoman. So that was the first number one of the top responses. What am I not up to the task? And for me, I assume the ladies were saying that they don't feel equipped to do it. Is that what you got, Sharon? Is that what you got?
Yes, that is what I got. And actually, I have a quote from one of my friends on Facebook, and this lady is dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother started a nonprofit um, organization as a result of what you'd call making rotten lemons out of into lemonade.
Okay.
Her son had been killed, and she started this foundation in his name called Austin Kennedy Center. And so her daughter Linda, there's many programs within the center, and this lady's just dynamic. And Linda says it's not impossible to be a boss businesswoman, an awesome mom, a loving wife, and a great friend. It just takes balance. But
Okay.
I would go into that as what we said last week: prioritizing,
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing, and balance.
Yes. And I will add this. And when a lot of people hear that word balance, they think, if you got four subjects, for instance, an awesome wife, a great mom, a good friend, and a boss lady, that's four different areas. So they're thinking, oh, I need to give equal time to everyone. But that's not necessarily balanced. Very few times in your life will you find that the different areas in your life need equal time, attention, effort, and input. What balance means is that because you have your priorities clearly in mind, you're able to give what is needed to each area at that particular time. So there may be some times when you're being a boss lady, you have a big project going, it is going to take more of your time and you'll take less time with the others, but you don't leave them out. That's what the balance is. You don't leave them out. You do find some time for them. And then, you know what? There are times when you're a mom, especially like if you've got a new baby, then that relationship is going to take way more time than the time you put into your husband or necessarily your business. And, there are some other times in motherhood, for instance, when those terrible twos and those terrible teens, even more terrible teens, where it's not going to be, 25, 25, 25, 25. But balance means that you're conscious of the fact that you do need to keep the other balls in the air or in your view. Okay, you don't get tunnel vision on one thing and let all the other things go. That's how relationships go. That's how people get unbalanced in their bodies, and then it brings up other problems, health problems, all kind of other things.
Yeah, and that's my thing, is looking at everything holistically, because when you don't, then you're going to cause an imbalance, and when you cause a major imbalance, it's going to be addressed. it will make itself addressed. If not, that ball's going to fall. But you don't have to feel the guilt that comes with that, because I think that's what it is some of the women were saying that they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel they can do it. Some of them said, I don't even think I want to do it. Right?
Oh my God. So the guilt is, there's none of us who haven't felt the guilt. I confess, I felt it. Okay. When I'm working real hard, even if it's on a project, and if I'm working real hard, I'm putting in the extra hours, I'm concentrating. Sometimes I forget to eat, my husband bring me a plate and stick it under my nose. And then I'm guilty because, I'm not giving as much attention to the relationship, to the wife part, or the mom part, or the girlfriend part, the friends part. But then when if you stop work and you're in the middle of a big project and spend time with a friend, so to speak, then you're like, oh, I really need to be back at work. And so there's that guilt there. But because that if you prioritize first, then it lessens the guilt when you spend some time on that. It also helps you not to let things that are not in your priority list come in. Okay? Like people coming to fill your time or trying to guilt you. People will try to guilt you too. When you got your priorities really straight and you know that you are doing the right thing, don't think that people will not try to guilt you.
I mean, and especially when you work at home.
Oh my God.
That's seen as, well, she's at home all day, she's not doing anything. So you, of course, you're the backup for everybody. Now, I mean, I truly love the fact that I am able to be the backup for my kids, for my son that lives with my daughter doesn't live close. So even though I back up during the summer and the holidays, and that of course gives her some relief, but I appreciate the fact that when my daughter in love and my son and my granddaughters are sick, they can bring them over here and I can fill in that for them. And that's part of it, is for my daughter-in-law to be a superwoman. She has to have a system.
A support system.
Yes. And each person has to know what they are there for.
And I think I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's the other part of being a superwoman. You cannot do it without a support system. As I said, when I'm knee deep in work, my husband does understand, and he'll stick a plate under my nose and say, eat. And, I do have girlfriends who will say, everything is calm, everything is fine, you're doing great. And because I feel like I'm going 90 miles an hour with my hair on fire sometimes. And so that support system is very, very important. And so even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you have a 9-to-5 job and you've got other relationships, then yeah, a support system is very, very critical. And you need more than one person in that support system. Because if you got a support system of one, if that person is otherwise engaged, you're flying without a safety net or parachute. So you need more than one.
Exactly. So the other thing that I want to mention is a young lady that I met, I guess through Coast-to-Coast. We've been meeting so many people, Lisa. You know that we
are. We are.
Our online presence has definitely popped.
It is. I'm pleasantly surprised, really pleased with it, that we are connecting to people. We're touching hearts.
Find her statement here. Where did she? Okay, here it is. She says that she credits J.K. Rowling for a statement that she made. And this is Ashley Jeffrey that's saying this. She's a young lady about 24 years old in Canada that connected with over this past week. And she says that this statement by J.K. Rowling is an inspiration to her. She said that rock bottom became the solid foundation that she rebuilt her life on.
Oh my God. That is so, woo, that gave me chills. It's so true. It is so true. And that, I think that's a good segue into one of the other questions where the person says, I feel overwhelmed with no way out. Or in other words, I feel like I've hit rock bottom. Okay. Okay. So when you feel so overwhelmed that there's no way out, and that really is the equivalent of rock bottom, it's the perfect time for you to start over, rebuild more intelligently. And if you've been around me for any length of time, I use that phrase quite a lot. One of the beautiful things about every day when you get up, you get to have a choice of rebuilding again more intelligently, because you won't make the same mistakes that you made in the past, and you'll keep the good, and you'll leave the not so good, or the things that are not serving you behind. So, overwhelmed with no way out means that you start over from scratch. Okay. And it's okay. Let me, I tried to explain this to many times before to people I was mentoring. If you were to, God forbid, be in a car accident tonight, all those things that you think cannot do without you and you can't do without would be scraped to the side. Your sole focus would be getting better, getting your health online. And I've had it happen in my life. I've seen it happen in some of my family life and some of my friends' life and some of the people that I mentor. We think that there is no way out. Okay. We think that there's no way out, but if it's a tough decision to make, but once you do it one time, it's easier to make again. I need to start over. And this place of overwhelm, this place of rock bottom is the perfect place to start, because I already know some things I'm not taking with me into the future. I already know this, and this is not going with me. Okay. But I like that, and that's going to go with me. And that then starts the whole process that we talked about last week of prioritizing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so you move forward from that. But no way out, there's no such thing as no way out. When you are still breathing, you wake up, when you're still breathing, there is a way. The only way that there's no way out is when you stop breathing. So, the person who said that, I love that quote. Okay, rock bottom, and the visual is so powerful that a foundation is concrete, is solid, it's built into rock.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what's amazing to me is this young woman who shared that comment with me. Mm-hmm. She's 24, and we have a lot of things in common in that we share some health concerns. Mm-hmm. So she was at a place where at 24, where she did not feel her best, and that her life was not going to be what she thought it is. But going back to one of the things is that when you're feeling that overwhelmed in terms of your occupation, then I would bet it's fair to say that you are not walking in your purpose. It's a whole different walk. It's a whole different feeling. It's no weights on your feet or your hands. You're just free. And you're more effective because you're free. But that is so wonderful when you find your purpose and start operating from that position.
It absolutely is. I will tell you this. I've been offered positions, opportunities, jobs that had some very appealing benefits, money benefits, other benefits that came with it. But because I was taught how to walk in my purpose, I didn't get distracted by the glitter and the glam and the money. And so because somebody taught me how to identify my purpose, then it was real easy for me not to let those other things pull me in. And then I would have been right back in overwhelm, right back in feeling that there was no way out, because I would have given my power away. And I think a lot of women, we do that because, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, they say. So they feel like, well, I got this. And even though I don't really like it, it's not my purpose. I'm scared to turn it loose because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to have something else. So you're right. Walking in your purpose, even on the days when everything is coming at you 90 miles an hour, you wouldn't be anywhere else. It's amazing that you understand that, oh yeah, this is something I have to deal with, but I wouldn't change this for anything. I wouldn't be anywhere else but where I am. So yeah, that's very important. And if you don't know what your purpose is, get with someone who can help you figure that out. Because I didn't know that at first. It's not like we're born with that ability. That's why there are coaches and that's why there are mentors. Okay. And just so you don't know the difference, a coach, you pay. A mentor, you might pay, but often they just pour into you as a form of giving back. So if you are not at the point where you can afford a coach right now, you can find a mentor. You just got to decide you want one, and you got to start. And that's the first step. Once you decide you want one, she'll come into your space. The universe will pull her in, and she'll like knock you over the head with a hammer. But you got to make the decision first.
Right. And that's, one of the things that we talked about this morning when we were going over this topic, and is that a lot of the comments that I heard was, well, you have it all together. But that, I don't think I can ever be like that. But the fact of the matter is that this is almost 6 decades of work. Okay. 6 decades of pulling together, making mistakes, figuring out, okay, that's not working, regrouping, getting sound counsel, accepting sound counsel, because that's another thing, is that a lot of times we don't always accept counsel when it's given. We look at it as it's, somebody's telling us what to do, and we're not in control, and we're not a grown up, and I know what I'm doing. But guess what? That is absolutely the best thing, is have someone who cares enough about you to say, hey, honey, sweetie, there's another way that you can do this, and not feel guilty and not be overwhelmed, and have time for yourself. That statement that Linda made, balance, and by adding the priority to it, it just covers so much.
Yes. You are right. We do have. Do you hear that echo? Oh, it stopped. Okay, it stopped. So we do have. Oh my God! Thank you, Anna. Well, we do have almost 60 years each of life experience. But and together that's almost 120 years. So if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, but that doesn't apply to me, I would beg to differ. I think it does apply. I think that it applies to everyone, because here's the deal. If you are not in overwhelm right now, don't think that it's not going to happen. It happens, and if you're young and you think, and let me read one of the other questions. It says, I don't think I want to be a superwoman. Is that wrong? And so I'm going to start out by saying, no, you don't have to be there are times in your life where you don't have to be a superwoman. And when you're young, that's usually it. Okay, because when you're young, you have less obligations. You have less things that are priority. You might have a full plate, but they're all pretty. A lot of them are pretty low priority things. Where should I go tonight? Where should I go shopping?
Your audio is coming in and out for a moment there. Hopefully it's worked its way out.
Money will go away if you don't work with it correctly. So So you've got that. So as you get older and more important pieces start coming in, you will need to be Superwoman at some point in your life. And the whole point of us tackling this topic is so that when it happens, you have some tools that you can use that are already in your toolbox. Because when you don't have the tools, that's when you feel overwhelmed. That's when you feel like you've hit rock bottom. But if you go ahead and learn these things now, when it happens, you might find yourself really stressed out. And then you'll get up one day and says, you know what? This is what they were talking about. This is where I'm going into my Superwoman phase of my life. So let me remember some of the things that I heard that can help me. And I can pull some of those things out of my toolbox.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it, is tools. Having something already available to handle some of the situations when they come up. It's kind of too late to get a spare tire when you're already on a flat.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that. It totally is. You have to have one already in the trunk or under the car. You do. Okay. Because you don't want to be stuck on the side of the road in the middle of the night. So and that's basically the equivalent of what we feel if we don't have the tools, if we haven't prepared a little bit for it. I don't think there's any way for a woman to not hit a phase in her life where she needs to be Superwoman. There's no way. If she keeps living and keeps growing, she's going to hit that phase at some point in time or another, where there are so many pieces in the air that she is overwhelmed trying to juggle it. And that's when she will need to have some of these tools and some of these processes that we're talking about.
Yes, definitely. And I have another comment, another quote from Marika Cunningham.
Okay.
And she gives the definition of mompreneur. And I thought this was so cool.
Uh-huh.
A multitasking woman who can balance both the stresses of running a business and entrepreneurship and time-consuming duties of motherhood at the same time.
Okay.
A multitasking woman who can balance both the stresses of running a business and as an entrepreneur and time-consuming duties of motherhood at the same time. That is like the excellent definition of
a Superwoman. Yes. I clearly remember having 5 kids in school, okay? Different schools at the same time, sports, being not only a chauffeur for them, but you know what? It became a crazy how other moms would just leave their children at the school and assume that I would take them home. And I did. I couldn't drive away and leave the kids sitting on the side, So, not only do we become have to be Supermom with our kids, but we have to be almost Supermom with the neighborhood kids or the community kids, if we are, and because we are that kind of woman. So yeah, and then you do have to have a relationship with a man or significant other. Even if you're married, then there's dating and so forth. So being able to do that and handle it so that you don't feel like you're going to lose it all or lose yourself. Okay. And so that brings me to the final question that we are going to cover today. The comment was, I don't feel appreciated as a Superwoman. Oh my God. I saved the best for last.
Isn't it?
Yes. Oh, thank you, Cherie. I saw your comment. Thank you. Okay. So you don't feel appreciated as a Superwoman. I'm just going to go ahead and say, parents, there's no way to get the balance in that. Parents are never going to be really appreciated until the kids get grown, have their own kids. Then they realize what you did for them. That's when you start getting a little appreciation. But as far as the other areas in your life, and even with the kids, you teach everyone how to treat you. You teach people how to appreciate you. No one can treat you in a way that you don't allow. And so if you have someone in your life who is not appreciating you, that's another thing that you can put into your toolbox, that you can teach these people. And I don't say make somebody treat you with respect or make somebody appreciate you. There's no such thing. But you can teach them, and there is a way to do it, and there's a process. So if you are the person who is, who feels like you're in Superwoman mode right now, but you're not getting any appreciation for it, then the mentor or the coach that you want is the one who can teach you how to navigate that. So whatever area in your life that you are feeling the most overwhelmed in right now, that's the area where you need the help. So if you feel like I'm Superwoman, I'm not getting any sleep, I'm doing everything, nobody's appreciating it, a gentle way of saying it is you encourage it by allowing it. So, and there's a way to get it done without fighting. There's a way to get it done without, creating drama. You just have to find someone who has the tools, the skills to do it, and they can teach you how to do it. Okay. So trust me, I lived in a house with a husband and 5 sons, all that testosterone in the house. I really, really, really had to find someone to teach me how to teach these people how to appreciate me sometimes. Okay. I have a great husband. Girlfriends tell me all the time, oh my God, where'd you get him? I want one just like him. Or they say, you don't appreciate him. But the point is, we got married young, and we had to teach each other how to appreciate each other. It was a process. The kids the same way, and even in the job, even if you work for corporate America, there are some things that you can do to teach people how you want to be treated.
Yes, exactly. And the final quote that I have here is from W.E.B. Du Bois.
Oh, okay.
There is no force equal to a woman who is determined to rise.
Woo!
There is no force equal to a woman who is determined to rise.
Okay.
Now that goes into our topic next week, which is domestic violence. And having worked in that field for a lot of years, one of the things that happens is people get burned out and say, I help you, you go back. I help you, you go back, whatever. But I've seen women who were not ready to leave. And they can have all kinds of excuses. The dog needs shots in a month. I got to pick up the dry cleaning, whatever. But let me tell you, when that woman is ready, there is no excuse in the world that's going to get her out of there. I mean, get her to stay out, not get her to not get out of that situation. But it requires having, oh, my cousin.
Oh, great quote. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Like you two favorite day.
She looks like my grandmother. My grandmother.
She does.
I had a picture of my grandmother at her age. You would not know. It's not the same person.
All 3 of y'all look alike.
Oh.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but when a woman is ready to make changes in her life, it's going to happen.
Yes, when the student is ready to teach her peers. When I often quote this with my girlfriends. I be like, oh, this relationship, that relationship. Oh, look at her. She's letting him. He don't appreciate. I said, let me tell you something. When she is fed up, you won't have to say anything. There's nothing you can say that will make her stay. Okay, when she hits the point past her point of endurance, and I use that phrase too. When she gets to point past her point of endurance, she's out of there. Unfortunately, some people end up really hurt or dead before they do, and so it's a great topic, and especially with it being the month for it. What's it called? This is the month.
Violence Awareness Month, which I use that term in and of itself because I don't think it's a matter of making people aware. People are aware. It's a matter of people choosing to say that, yeah, it is my business. Yes, I do need to get involved. And
yeah. And because that's the other end of the spectrum. When you see someone going through it and you think it's not my business, I don't need that. And, you know, it's a very, dare I say, volatile topic. It truly is. It truly is. And I've met some of the, you know, there's a coach that I'm going to her 2-day conference in January. Cherie and I are going, and her on Facebook, she's called Coach Ree. And I came in contact with Coach Ree because she was doing I think it was a retreat or something for young ladies. Okay, young ladies, I believe this was Coach Ree because I've done several where they were doing I might have gotten her mixed up with another one, but it's 2 different ladies. And I met these ladies because they were on Facebook asking for gifts for bags. And these gifts were for bags for young ladies who had lost a parent due to domestic violence. And so it was in the month of October, and it was an opportunity to make these young ladies feel good. And so I remember on one of the instances, the lady, I just passed by her post on Facebook. She had gotten some gifts and they were just really subpar. And she was like, I cannot put these young ladies already been victims. I cannot give them this trash. And so, but I waited to the last, you know, this came at the last minute, and I need some really nice gifts to put something decent to put in the bags for these young ladies. And I remember saying, I'll send some things. On 2 different occasions, I remember at the last minute struggling to get some things to send to these young ladies. So it is a topic that is out there, and you'll see a lot of it this month. But I think that maybe between our 120 years, we might be able to bring, you know, a different perspective to the whole issue of domestic violence.
And having worked in that field for so many years, I have some things to say that may be totally different than what most people have heard in the past. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that next week. But looking at where we are right now, today, we want to encourage you. We're still running our What's in Your Bag contest. Get your pictures in, post them. The categories are something sexy but clean, a household product, and something that someone else put in your bag. And we'll be announcing the winner on the 27th, so don't miss out. We've got some cool gifts that we'll be giving out. I'm really excited about that. So next week, as I said, the topic will be domestic violence. And we have a lot of information on that. And I think the following week, we're going to talk about breast cancer awareness, because that's also one of the topics that are very important for this month. Yes. And women have to, as I always say, holistically loving you. Holistically loving you. That means mind, body, spirit, and a multitude of other areas that you never think about that we have to address to be the best you can be. So I want you guys to know that you can contact Lisa and I online. Both of us have YouTube channels. Lisa, what is your YouTube channel's name?
Oh my God, I just changed it. After I changed my Facebook page, I'll post it in the comments. Okay.
Okay. And mine, of course, is Lipstick Therapy. You can find it under Lipstick Therapy. You can find it under Sharon D. And I think it comes up under Sharon Davis, but primarily Sharon D. Also, our personal pages, mine is just Sharon Davis, and hers is
Lisa Washington.
Yes. Okay. So I am your West Coast beauty.
And I am your East Coast beauty. And today we want to say thank you for joining us. And if you're listening to the replay, we know that we appreciate you too. And we're going to say goodbye until next week. Closing out another good session. Thank you all for joining us.